What if you're not broken, just believing something that isn't even true? So many of us are walking around carrying beliefs we never consciously chose, beliefs inherited from childhood, from trauma, from culture, even from pain we've never dared to name. And over time, those beliefs shape everything: our health, our habits, our hormones, our sense of who we are and what we're worthy of. Today's guest, Natalie Lund, knows what it's like to reach a breaking point and then let that breaking point become the beginning of something extraordinary. After losing her job during the pandemic and struggling silently with burnout, ADHD, and perimenopause, Natalie discovered Rapid Transformational Therapy, a subconscious healing modality that changed her life from the inside out. Now a certified RTT therapist and founder of the Lighthouse Therapist, Natalie works with women around the world to help them uncover and release the deep emotional roots of symptoms they've been told to just live with. From PMDD to self sabotage, from body shame to burnout, this episode will leave you questioning everything you thought you had to carry and reminding you that the true transformation isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you otherwise. But before we dive into this episode, you already know what time it is. Vibe with me, y'all.
Welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast.
Y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach, Jovonnie. This is the safe space where survival mode ends and your healing journey begins. So if you're pushing through pain, fatigue, bloating, or hormone chaos, I want you to know that your body isn't broken. It's just speaking. Thanks for coming to the Good Vibe Studio, Natalie.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is great.
Yes, ma'am. Natalie, take us back to the moment you realized that your symptoms and struggles were rooted in something deeper than just lifestyle. What was happening in your body and in your life?
So I was struggling with a few things. So ADHD is something I sort of didn't struggle with it. I had coping mechanisms, but then at some point when perimenopause kicked in, I started struggling with it. So the shift in hormones just was like driving me, yeah, to see the ADHD and feel ADHD. I was going through chaos in my life, lost my job due to COVID, people around me getting sick, like this whole terrible situation we were all in. So I decided to study Rapid Transformational Therapy with Marisa Peer. I had heard like a podcast with her, and just the way she talked made me feel better within 5 minutes. So I thought, oh my God, if I can actually do this, I'll feel better always. That's not quite true because we always have kind of, ups and downs, which is absolutely normal. But I figured out that so much of the stuff I was carrying around, so much of the mask I was wearing was due to how I grew up, what I was allowed to do, what I was not allowed to do, what was told me by parents, by teachers, by friends of my parents, by uncles and aunts and grandparents, everyone who's close to one. And I started figuring out, to get rid of those deep-seated beliefs. And with the Rapid Transformational Therapy course, we were working with each other. So we had to be therapist, but we also had to be client for the training. So that's when I started figuring out, whoa, okay, you actually have problems. And yeah, I'd always, smile away every problem I had. I wasn't really allowed to be in a bad mood or be angry or anything. So I used to smile it away. And then when I actually looked inside me, I figured out, wow, okay, yeah, you do have lots of problems, just like everybody else. So been working on them. It's a journey. It's a long journey. I'm not completely healed or perfect or whatever. I'm still on that journey, and learning more and more about myself to self-hypnosis. I do that as well when I'm like, don't know what to do anymore. I'll go there, feel what's there, what's blocking me, what's hurting me, what's there. So that continues. So yeah.
Yes, thank you for breaking that down. I love that you said if ADHD wasn't as much of a challenge until perimenopause kind of kicked in, and you then had to start figuring out, okay, all these hormones, all these other things. Now I'm feeling the shift. I'm feeling the change in my body. I kind of want to ask you, what did that look like for you? Because there might be people that are approaching perimenopause. Maybe they don't have the ADHD, but what would be some insights, some word of advice when people's hormones start to change and they're feeling it, they're seeing it, but they're not quite sure exactly what to start doing? What would be some of those first few steps you would give them?
So in my case, I had a depression and I had anxiety that I'd never had before. I had pains in my shoulders, in my knees, in my feet that I couldn't really place because my body, I've always exercised, always done lots of sports, so I couldn't really place it. I was, oh God, there are so many. I don't even know where to. It's like,
No, those were good right there. I mean, if you
so
could think of anything else.
yeah, so shoulders was the worst. I couldn't sleep on this side. I couldn't sleep on the other side. It was both shoulders just done. I had nails, super brittle nails. I had so my teeth have been perfect since I'm a kid. So since I've got the adult teeth, I had perfect teeth. They're a bit crooked, but they're perfect. Suddenly, I had a hole in my tooth. I'd never had that. It was just suddenly, because also teeth suffer. Everything suffers. I was starting to get heat waves during the day, especially on days where, it's cold outside, but the sun is shining. Suddenly I was burning up inside. I wasn't sleeping. No sleep. That was obviously, that put me in a bad mood. That gave me a fatigue. I was tired all the time. I went to work, came back, and was like, I'll just sleep, sit down, scroll, whatever, but I couldn't concentrate on anything anymore. And with the ADHD, it was there and I could feel it, and my brain was going like, gone. That also, I mean, brain fog, another symptom of perimenopause. But my brain was just, I couldn't calm it. Like, easiest things, cooking, whatever it was, I just could not calm my brain. It was just everywhere, and it was annoying me. And I used to be able to deal with it, with meditation, lifestyle, food, everything. I was able to really deal with it, and then suddenly I couldn't. So it was driving me insane. I thought I was going crazy, literally, because yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so that was that. I got 9. I don't know if anybody else is listening right now, was able to capture all 9, but I'll give them to you. First, it was depression, anxiety, pain in the shoulders, knees, and feet, brittle nails, hole in your tooth. Unique, but that could definitely be something other people are experiencing as well. The hot flashes, struggle with sleep. That's a big one, because some people, even prior to perimenopause, are already possibly struggling with insomnia, having a hard time winding down to go to sleep, wanting to go to sleep, but can't go to sleep. So that's struggling with sleep, and then being tired all the time, like that too. Just extreme fatigue, just always tired, or being able to do some things and then automatically saying, okay, it's time to get into bed. And then that brain fog. So I really appreciated you really taking the time to reflect on what those symptoms were when you started to really feel it, see it, because some people might be experiencing those, Natalie, and don't even know that might be Perry knocking on the door saying, hey, I'm starting to arrive. We're coming to this new shift. But something you just said was, okay, the lifestyle changes that I was making before really wasn't addressing the things I was experiencing. So what was that shift, Natalie? What was that shift all about, or that turning point when you realized you had to do something a little bit differently than the lifestyles you were already accustomed to, making those changes?
So one thing I forgot, I gained weight.
We're at
10.
10.
I went to the gynecologist and actually asked for hormone replacement therapy. And the first thing she said to me is, "You're too young." And I'm like, "No, I'm not too young. I am aware that perimenopause starts up to 10 years before menopause. So before you stop bleeding a year later, it can happen anywhere between probably even 15 years until that happens. So I am not too young. I'm having all these symptoms. I heard them on a podcast, which brought me to you. I want hormone replacement therapy." Then she said, "Oh, well, you gained weight. You have to eat less. That happens to women when they get older. You just have to eat less." And for the depression, she said, "Oh, go to a psychiatrist and get an antidepressant." And I'm like, I do not want an antidepressant. And the way I eat has nothing to do with why I'm gaining weight. I want hormone replacement therapy. Nope. Went looking for another doctor who actually said, "Okay, let's test it." I kid you not, all the symptoms just went gone. I sleep well. I don't have pain anymore. My teeth didn't get worse. I've been to the dentist again. She's like, "Nope, they're back to being perfect." I don't have fatigue. I mean, brain fog, sometimes I will forget a word, but it wasn't like I'd forget a word in one language and none of the other languages could come up with the word either. And that was something that was new. So that changed. And I looked into my beliefs, what it meant to sort of get older, what menopause meant for me. And so also in self-hypnosis, and it was, you're getting older, nobody wants to see you anymore, nobody wants to listen to you anymore, you're fading away when you get older. And but that's what we're told, right? As the longer we're away from being fertile, or the further we're away from being super fertile, the less worth we seem to have in society, because everything is built around fertility, right? You go to the gynecologist, it's all fertility. Nothing is studied for after fertility, right? So we have these beliefs from society, from magazines, from doctors, from everything. And then doctors say, "Oh, just get this. Oh, this is normal at your age." Like, it's like when you get older, you get fat. So I went into those beliefs in hypnosis and let them go. I did not stop taking HRT, but because I don't want to, because it's been awesome. But I have friends who cannot take HRT because they have breast cancer, for example, from hormone, so hormonal breast cancer, which that is a problem. And I've done a session with them, figuring out what their beliefs are, and then giving them better suggestions, right? So different beliefs, better suggestions. And that has helped.
That's beautiful. I was writing it down. So pretty much your biggest shift for you was hormonal replacement therapy.
Yeah.
That's what really fixed mostly everything. But sometimes those with hormonal breast cancer, they aren't qualified, or is not suggested to be able to take the hormonal replacement therapy, and they will have to try another approach or another attempt. And that's when RTT hypnosis kind of plays a part in that experience. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I
also had a go ahead.
I also had a client. She hadn't slept in years. She hadn't slept in years. And I didn't even go into where it comes from, what her beliefs are. I just made an audio with better suggestions. And the next day I saw her walking our dogs, and she's like, I have slept. I slept the whole night through. I didn't have hot flashes. I slept the whole night through. And she started crying of relief.
So let us in on a little bit of the audio. What was some of those suggestions and things that you suggested for her? Someone who hadn't slept in years, finally getting sleep from this audio message that you gave, because this might just be the audio message that you give to someone else that might allow them to help sleep.
You're feeling cool. Your body is feeling cool. Your mind is feeling cool. Your body temperature is absolutely perfect to sleep. Your sleep comes upon you like a blanket, and you sleep the whole night through. Your dreams are healing and cooling, and you wake up feeling energized and revived. So something like that,
Okay.
but
Okay.
longer. It's like 20
Yes, ma'am.
minutes long, so it's a
20
long,
minutes
long
longer.
thing
Okay,
with.
I like it because I,
And
I
because
wasn't even quite sure. I didn't know if it was just like suggestions on different things to do. But just speaking to your brain, speaking to letting your subconscious, letting it know that relaxed state, trying to prime it for rest, for winding down. And so thank you for sharing that. Something
you're
that I
welcome.
also wanted to ask you a little bit about earlier, which was something you talked about. You were talking about what the doctors were telling you, like, oh, you're getting older. That means you just need to eat less because you're gaining weight. Oh, like what healthcare system were you in? Like, I want to give some context to it because, sometimes I have people in different countries and I want them to realize what it's starting to look like in those different countries when they're navigating the healthcare. So what healthcare were you navigating, Natalie, when you were trying to get help with all of these symptoms that your lifestyle could no longer assist with?
So I was living in Berlin, in Germany. I have the German healthcare system, just the normal one. So you need to, the problem is to actually find a gynecologist who takes you, because you're not a private payer, because we have two systems. We have the private and the social, right? Which isn't very social because it should be all social, but hey, we have both systems. And most gynecologists or doctors in general, they don't have space anymore because obviously they want more money, so they only take the private ones. So it took me, after I went to that gynecologist, it took me a long time to find somebody who would actually be okay with hormone replacement therapy, who had, learned about it and seen the effects of hormone replacement therapy. There's an app in Germany called Teleklinik. It's basically, there's an app and you get like a video conference with a doctor. And you can ask what you need or what you've got beforehand. And I said, look, I'm looking for a doctor who will give me hormone replacement therapy. I don't want anyone telling me, no, you don't need it, or, oh, you'll get breast cancer. I don't want that. I've done my research. So I wrote all that in. And then I had a meeting with this doctor. He was a Polish doctor in a little island in the north of Germany. And he's like, yep, no worries. Here it is. I had to pay privately, which I did. But I put the estrogen on my skin and it was like instant. I felt better. The pain was going away. With the progesterone, I slept. But then I had to find a doctor who kept giving it to me, right? Because every time, paying out of, privately, or I don't know, sending my card up to the doctor and him sending it down again with a new, it doesn't work. So I had to find a doctor, and it took me a long time. It took me 6 months to find a doctor who would take me. And I only got an appointment with her because she was from Hamburg and she took over the practice of another doctor that had stopped working. So she was, starting a new basis of patients. And I've sent all my friends to her as well.
That's good.
Right from the beginning, I said, now she's got space. You got to go now. Just at least
Right.
make one appointment so you're in, because it's really hard. And I'm guessing in the US, it's just as hard to find somebody who actually knows about it, has studied it, is looking at everything, is aware of everything. I mean, the woman who told me stop eating so much, she was in her 50s. Right? She went through this. Maybe she didn't have any symptoms because not everybody has symptoms. Or maybe she just had a few. I had a lot of symptoms. I was 40 and I had a lot of symptoms. So, yeah. that was.
Can you tell us some of because you navigated this and you advocated for yourself and you were determined to find someone to give you that hormonal replacement therapy, because based on listening to podcasts and really just exploring different people's experiences and the insights, it made you curious and you were like, I want to choose this as my option of seeing how it would help address my symptom, my experiences, the way my body's communicating to me. Can you kind of talk us about what would make people not eligible, or them to kind of say no to the hormonal replacement therapy, and then maybe who the hormonal replacement therapy could potentially be for? Like some of those, how do you weigh whether or not this is a good option for some and a not so good option, since you have medical professionals kind of pushing back on this this type of therapy?
So I would say most women or most people with a uterus can take hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy is not only for like the symptoms we're having now, but it also helps us in the future. So it'll help us, with our cardiovascular disease system, with our cardiovascular system, with our urinary tract system. It helps maintain the bone structure, the bones, because women are the ones who, break their hip. And the number of women who die within a year after breaking their hip is too high, is way too high. So it all helps for that as well in the future. The problem was that they said at some point, oh no, it gives you breast cancer. Well, now they're trying to pedal back, but it's hard, right? It's like the thing with the vaccines cause autism. Somebody said it, somebody wrote about it, everybody starts talking about it, and they're pedaling back, but there are still people who believe that, right? So that problem, I think it came out in 2000 that they did a study that they didn't even look at properly. They're pedaling that back. Now, if you have issues with estrogen, usually it's estrogen, my friend, it's estrogen and progesterone. Obviously do not recommend. Although, for example, some doctors say, look, if you have the hormonal breast cancer, it is the breast cancer that gets operated out. You get radiotherapy on it, and then you check it for 5 years, and then you should be in remission. And they weigh it up, that, or your cardiovascular system going to shutting down, or your bones shutting down, or having urinary problems all the time. It then depends. It depends on every woman or person with a uterus, what they feel comfortable with. I think we've heard a lot of negative talk about it, so I'm advocating it to my friends, for example, because it made me feel so good. But then you experiment, right? You try, and if you stop taking it, you stop taking it. It's the hormones are gone, right? It doesn't stay in your body. And then you have things like some women need more testosterone. Nobody talks about that. For women, there's also who have vaginal dryness, there's a vaginal estrogen, which is a cream. It's like a face cream. I know Dr. Kelly Casperson puts it in her face as well and makes her feel young and look younger. So there are different kinds. And since now the hormones are bioidentical, it's basically the same that our body produces, right? So
yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Natalie, because we weren't even thinking about taking a deeper dive into HRT when we first was talking about this. But I think for people experiencing this and starting to get closer into their 40s, their body is starting to change. They're looking at these 10 signals or messages that you experience, and then how you navigated the health system in Germany, taking you 6 months to be able to get someone to approve the route you wanted to take, the journey that you wanted to be on. I really appreciated you for kind of navigating that. But you also talked about people with breast cancer and that they aren't able to utilize this HRT method, but they could potentially use the rapid transformational therapy. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So can you kind of tell us, those who are new to RTT, what exactly is it and how does it work differently than traditional talk therapy or coaching?
So talk therapy, you go for years, right? They dig deep, dig deep, dig deep. It takes a while because you're conscious and your critical mind is there blabbing, right? Um, Rapid transformational therapy, you go into hypnosis, which means it's a different brainwave, right? Now we're on beta brainwave. In hypnosis, it's alpha or theta, right? It's a deep relaxation. It's the same relaxation you have when you're meditating, for example, or when you're, reading a book and you're so focused on only the book that nothing that happens around you enters your mind. When you're driving, for example, and you're like, oh, how did I get here? That you were basically in hypnosis. It just means that you're able to focus on one thing, and your critical mind is it's still there, which means you can always stop it. You're always in control of everything, but it's smaller. It doesn't keep talking at you. And that way we can go to the subconscious mind. I don't know if you know the iceberg of Freud. He had an iceberg, and then the tip of the iceberg is what we're conscious of. And all the rest of the iceberg down there is everything we heard, everything we felt, everything we've seen, everything that happened is stored in our subconscious mind. And obviously, some things are down there because we don't have the capacity to keep having them in our conscience all the time, especially things that, for example, happen when we're kids or babies, right? Those things we don't understand yet because we're not that mentally developed. We don't have we just don't know. We don't understand things. So until about 5, 6 years, sometimes 7 years, kids think that the world revolves around them. So if the parents are fighting, it's my fault. If something's happening outside of me with my loved ones, it's my fault, right? So we project everything onto us. So the belief can be, my parents are always fighting. I'm a bad kid. It's my fault. And you're schlepping around this belief your whole life, even though it's not even true, right? Other things that happen, that the way you felt, you have that belief, that you created that belief, and that belief creates problems in your future, in your life, and you're not aware of these beliefs. So with rapid transformational therapy, we go into those beliefs. We go to like the root cause of the issue you're having now. So whether it be perimenopause, PMDD, or whatever it is. PMDD, for example, I had a client. She had been adopted to the US. So kids, obviously, who have been adopted always feel this, being pushed away by their own mothers because they're giving the child away. The child doesn't know or understand, baby, I cannot take care of you. I love you very much. You're better off with another family or whatever. They don't understand that, right? So it's the first thing. It's like, I'm not good enough. I'm not enough, right? So she had this, she was adopted, had a really cool, loving family. But moved around a lot, and was still in contact with her biological parents, and had issues, and it was all family problems. And her PMDD in hypnosis, we came to a part where I said, so what's that part, and why are you here? And it's like, oh, he's my companion. So the PMDD of my client was the companion of my client because it came every month. For 1 week, it was there, and she could trust it to be there. Whereas she felt like she couldn't trust anything else around her to be there. So once we got rid of that, so what happens? We go to the root cause. So first, relaxation. Then we go to the root cause of the issue. Scenes come up in front of your eyes. It's like colors start coming, and then you see yourself in a situation. And then, I go through, what are you feeling? What else are you feeling? Is anyone with you? What is happening? I sort of tend to go on the feelings. to really see, okay, what feelings is that child? It's usually childhood. What feelings are these children having? What feelings is this child having? What's the age of that child? And then we do 3 or 4 of these scenes. Sometimes if it's a pain somewhere in the body, I can go to that pain in the body or that feeling in the body and say, okay, that part of you. And then it's called role, function, purpose, intention. So I'm the part in my client's life. I'm PMDD, and I'm here in your life to show you or to help you with, or to, and then it's the role, the function, the purpose, the intention, until we get to like, what is it? And then we can get rid of that, right? We talk to that part and say, hey, wonderful, it's really cool, so you've been helping me, but you're hurting me now, so any chance you'd like to leave? So basically that part will have to want to leave by itself. When it wants to leave, we let it leave. I make my clients imagine, I don't know, a balloon that pulls it away, or a rocket that sends it to the sun to burn, to never come back again, or whatever the client then wishes to do. Obviously, the client can go, oh, I don't like rockets. Oh, okay, no worries. So, and then we have like different ways of disconnecting, for example, that belief, like, I'm not that child anymore. I'm an adult person now. So you are disconnecting this belief from childhood to your adult self. So there are several methods then that, disconnect and take it away. And yeah, so that part, that companion, PMDD, she's like, oh no, you're not helping me. And it's like, do you want to go away? Nope, I need to protect you. And I'm like, okay, how about we give it another job? So we give that part of you that is trying to protect you with what pains you a different job. Since it doesn't want to go away, we give it a different job. So it's your biggest cheerleader, or it's your alarm system to figure out if the person you're talking to is awesome or not. For example, we just give it a different job, and then it sort of dissolves from there. And then, yeah, you have a question?
No, so I'm listening. I'm really grateful that you're breaking it down, especially when you started off with like talk therapy, is that critical mind is still there. There's a lot of consciousness that's there to really kind of help you figure out, what is it, this or is it not? And then how do I articulate this? Do I want to believe it's this? What's my thought process on that? What perspective do I want to take while I'm sharing this in talk therapy? And then that hypnosis being that deep relaxation part, and then that RTT being able to go into beliefs, that rapid transformational therapy, going into beliefs and root causes. I love the disconnection. Like I definitely understand the balloon or the rocket part, but the disconnection was powerful for me, because I feel like even if it was something that connected you in your childhood or in that moment or in that season or in that stage of your life, it's okay now to disconnect yourself from it, to be who it is that you want to be today and how you plan to move forward. So for me, in all of that, it was the disconnection piece, because sometimes even when we think we're disconnected or we're moving away from something, it still has some form of connection in some way, shape, form, or fashion, subconsciously, if you haven't truly decided to really let something go, disconnect, and no longer make it a part of your identity. So that was big for me. But then you said PMDD, and I wasn't sure if people knew what PMDD was. And when you say it was my companion, what's another way of forming that? What do you mean when you say, oh, that's my companion, it comes every week? Is that meaning like that menstrual cycle? I know it's coming, I can depend on it, so I want it to be there. When you say companion, what does that mean?
So basically, so the PMDD is just like a hardcore PMS, not just, it is like hardcore. It's, I have PMS. This person, she wanted to unalive herself every month. So it was the week before her period that she was in such a bad state that she didn't want to live anymore. And in hypnosis, that part of that PMDD part of her that said, well, I'm your companion. So the belief was, PMDD is my companion. It comes every month. without fail. I can trust it will always come. It's there. So that was the belief that, it's there. I can trust it. So if it stays, I know it'll come. And then it's, changing to, but you want it to come every month. To no, I don't. Right? That's all. I ask the questions, my clients answer me, or answer themselves, basically, right? Yeah, because they're going inside themselves, and they're still consciously there, but they're also, getting the subconscious to come up. And so this, for example, to explain in a different way, I had a client who is a psychologist and wanted to lose weight. Right? Had gained weight, also perimenopause, but not only that. So we went through, and the belief was, I need to fit all these people I need to help. And I was like, where do you need to fit them? And she's like, It's like, are you fitting them in your body? Does that make sense? And she's like, yes, but why? And I'm like, yeah, why? Right? And then we figured out that she believed, and this wasn't a childhood belief, this was an older belief, that she needed space to fit all these people she needed to help. And I'm like, but do you want to help these people? Are they your clients? Are the ones who pay you for you to help them? No. And I'm like, so we got to the bottom of the issue. It's not, the problem wasn't her paying clients. It's everyone around her that was basically needing her. But she can choose to help them or not. I'm like, it's your choice. You can choose to help them or choose to say, hey, look, I'm a therapist, book in an appointment with me. But she felt like she needed that space because she needed to help everybody. Everybody. I mean, she's a healer as well, right? She's someone who helps people. So I think we all sort of have a little bit of that.
I think we do too. But I also think that it comes with a level of balance, but also, like you said, boundaries, but then awareness of where it really fits in a healthy space for you. Because I've also had other people on the podcast talking about how they go so hard with helping so many people that then they start to struggle with their own well-being and health because there's so much putting out so much that they're not really finding how to put so much back in based on what they're giving out. And so I think that's important. Something that stood out to me when you were talking about helping people based on like some of their pain points. For me and some of the listeners, endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids. I was thinking about, painful bowel movements during my cycle, pelvic pain, and that left-hand side for that adenomyosis site for me, low back pain around my menstrual cycles. If I were to come to you and say, "Oh, Natalie, it's this low back pain that makes me feel like, is it my kidneys or something or what?" Not even knowing that it's my endometriosis until I was diagnosed with this stage 4. But that low back pain started to be really excruciating. But the painful bowel movements that were always there that I normalized for so long before I realized it was not normal and it was a message of what's happening in my body. What could be some of those things based on those pain points that I used to have?
So basically we would go to what pain is that? Because often, not always, but often our body has symptoms because there's something emotional going on and our body is telling us, yo, look at it. And we're like, la, 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 la. Right? Because we don't want to deal with it. But we also stopped, I think in this modern world, we stopped listening to our bodies as well. So body is trying to tell us something and we can't hear it. So with the hypnosis, we make it heard. So you would come to me with your bowel issues, for example. We'd figure out, okay, where does it come from? What is maybe an underlying belief that you have that is causing that, or that is causing endometriosis or fibromyalgia? I hate saying that word.
Fibromyalgia.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And figure out, what's in there, what's down there, what is causing this. Is it something, for example, is it trying to protect you from something, right? Oftentimes there are pains in our body that are there to protect us from something, or in that moment before, when we started this belief, but it's still there, and now it's not helping us, it's not protecting us, it's destroying us, it's hurting us, it's right. Whew, I lost my train of thought.
No, that was good. We were talking about the different symptoms that I'm bringing, from the low back pain, the painful bowel movements, and it's really getting into that hypnosis state and really trying to say, okay, what is it your body really trying to tell you? Are you protecting yourself from something? Is it
Oftentimes it's
destroying you?
also
Is it helping you?
oftentimes it's also, I need attention, right? You consciously, nah, I don't need that. But unconsciously, because it's stuck in your childhood, for example, you've got brothers and sisters who got more attention or different attention, or you just didn't get the attention that you needed as a child, or a point in time as you were a child, or, something happened. I don't know, your parents had to, your brother went to hospital, your parents went with him to hospital, you stayed with Auntie Margaret, and you felt left alone. That is something that is stuck there. So I need attention. I need my parents' attention, which is the most important as a child, right? To survive, you need your parents' attention and love. Without it, it's very difficult. So you do everything to get attention. Some people have illnesses, right? A lot of kids get sick a lot to get that attention. Some kids are perfect in school to get attention, right? Are perfect in school, perfect in sports, are absolute perfectionists. Other ones are the caring ones, are the ones who are taking care of everything, because that's a way of getting attention, right? A lot of pain is also there to get attention. People don't like hearing this, sorry. But once we know what it is, we can change it, right? So once we know what it is, we change that. So in my session, we found out what were the underlying beliefs, blah, blah, blah. We let it go. We disconnected. But then it's like, okay, so all this happened, and this is all you have now. Can you tell me? I know what it is, but can you tell me how this here caused this here, right? So that you as a client make the connection yourself, right? Because then I know that you know. And then we let it go. We get rid of that. We reframe it. And then we give you the better suggestions. Because you've been telling yourself lies. Tell yourself better lies, right?
You've been telling yourself lies. I love that part. Y'all, what I want to do is let you know about a training that I'm offering. And it isn't about willpower. It's about creating safety in your body. So if you've ever been stuck in cycles of pelvic pain, fatigue, bloating, and survival mode, it's not your fault. Your body isn't broken. It's just asking for a reset, some attention, some love. And so in my free training, 5 costly mistakes keeping you stuck in pelvic pain and fatigue and how to break free naturally, I'm going to walk you through my HEAL method, the same root-based framework I use to move from hormonal chaos and chronic inflammation to regulated cycles, restore energy, and a life I love. This is where the guessing ends and your healing begins. Now let's get back into the conversation. Natalie, the emotional roots is something we talk a lot about here on the channel. What are some of those common subconscious beliefs you see in women who are burned out, anxious, or struggling with self-worth?
I'm not enough. I think I'm not enough is something we all have problems with, because sometime in our life we were made to feel like we're not enough. So that's also like Marisa Peer's thing. She has a book called I Am Enough, because it is one of the three basic emotions that cause issues. So I'm not enough. It's not attainable for me, right? And I'm different than others. I had a client, for example, she had sweaty palms and sweaty feet. And she was diagnosed with ADHD later in life. But she felt different, not part of any any community, any group. She felt like she didn't belong anywhere. And a physical symptom to make her believe that she's different than the others, not only the mental I'm different than others, but a physical thing she could hold on to say, look, I am different than others, I've got sweaty palms. So we got rid of that belief, and she didn't have any sweaty palms anymore. In my case, I was a smoker. I started smoking when I was 13 and quit 5 years ago. So very late. And I figured out, why am I smoking? Right? I asked in hypnosis, I asked myself, why am I smoking? I hate it. I stink. It's terrible for my health. It doesn't do me any good. The only relaxation it causes is because I'm, getting rid of the nicotine monster, trying to get more nicotine there. I give it nicotine and I feel relaxed. But people who don't smoke don't have that, right? So I was trying to figure out, because I've quit before, but I didn't stay quit. And I wanted to stay quit. So I tried to figure out, okay, why am I smoking? In my case, I moved countries, schools 10 times in 10 years, more or less. So always different people. I was always a new kid, always a small kid, always the young kid, always the different kid. So I started smoking to belong. And once I found out that, I'm like, but I don't need to smoke to belong anymore. I'm more like a pariah now as a smoker. So, and never, it's been over 5 years, and I never thought about starting again.
I love it. That was so dope. I didn't even realize you can talk to yourself during hypnosis. I thought other people had to guide you through it, but you guided yourself through that and realized exactly where it all began when it came to smoking. And so I love that example. So thank you for sharing that as well. So how can rapid transformational therapy help shift physical symptoms like inflammation, hormonal imbalances, or gut issues, especially when traditional medicine doesn't seem to really help people or route they want to go?
Yeah, exactly. So either it's emotional, it's a belief, it's something that our body is telling us, we can't get rid of it. Marisa Peer figured something out. So she studied psychology and then was like, this is taking too long. So went to study hypnosis and was like, okay. And then she built on top of that. And one thing is the idea, which they have proved, they've proven that scientifically now, is that every cell has a brain. Every cell has its own brain. And the cells are like rowdy school kids, but if you tell them what to do, they will do what they need to do. And your body remembers the blueprint. So you go back to your blueprint when everything was perfect, and then you tell the cell, or you command the cell what to do. It's called command cell therapy. So you command the cell what to do, and that sort of can help physical ailments. It can help rebalance your hormonal issues you're having. It's like, okay, it's like pushing. For example, my client who said, oh my God, after saying, oh, I need to make space for all the people that I need to help, right? When she did that, I asked her how she's doing, and she's like, oh my God, it felt like an Ozempic injection. Because she lost weight so fast that she didn't feel like eating. She didn't feel like drinking alcohol, no sugar. She didn't feel like any of that anymore. And I'm like, So I'm playing around still. It's not finished, but I'm playing around with an audio that is like the Ozempic injection. So I went in, what's the medical things? What does it do? What are the blockers? What, and then basically command the cells to do exactly that.
So it. That was interesting. Yeah. Okay. The command cell therapy. Every cell has its own brain. And she went from the psychological route, that's what you said, into the hypnosis route because it was taking so long.
Yeah.
And so find a different pathway, because again, you want that rapidness. You want people to start seeing results, feeling results, being changed, seeing those shifts happening. So they want to continue with it. You work with people all over the world who are ready to shift, but many people don't really know where to start. What's that one powerful belief every woman needs to let go of? And what should she replace it with, Natalie?
That one belief probably is the one, I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough. And the belief they should shift it with is obviously the opposite, I am enough. But also, I have the best coping mechanisms there are. I can cope with anything.
So I want y'all to drop that in the comments. I can cope with anything. That's what I want y'all to drop in the comments right now. If you're still listening with this, I can cope with anything.
And make sure you don't use negations. So the mind doesn't understand no, doesn't understand don't. You want the positivations of it. So I am enough. I can cope with anything. Everything, anything that comes my way, I can cope with it.
Also, I am enough. Drop that in the comments if you're still vibing with us during this conversation. All right. Make sure you drop that in the comments so we know what is happening. For the woman listening who feels like she's tried everything, Natalie, but still feels stuck, what do you want for her to hear today?
Figure out what you're stuck on. Once you know, you can change it. When you know, you can change it.
When you know, you can change it. I love it.
Yeah, knowledge is power, right?
It is. It is. But I love the part when you think about people who are truly ready. You know, they might be thinking about it, considering it, being primed, getting excited about it. But that shift from truly being ready and to take action and then to start showing up and doing the work, those are different spaces in people, different stages in the process. And for you, it was listening to a podcast. It was listening and putting yourself in different spaces and allowing your brain, your body, your mind to start soaking up new information, getting curious about it, then figuring out, what do I want this to look like? Do I want to try that? Do I not? And that's the whole essence of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. I want them to hear the different journeys of strength, different ways that people navigated their own healing journey to spark interest, to spark engagement, to spark curiosity, to figure out, do I want this for myself? Should I look a little deeper into this? Would this work for me? Is this something I want to experience or not? Because I just want them to feel empowered to go live their life in the best way possible, based on what they feel is necessary, not what we have done and wanting that for them, but for them to go out and get what they know they deserve and not just feel like a victim or stuck in this space of letting their body keep talking to them and they don't respond or have a way to respond that helps and not hinders the process. So I'm really grateful that you broke that down. So here we go. We're going to do vitality sparks. All right. So it's rapid fire. I just want you to do some self-reflection, but make it quick. All right.
Okay.
Ready? What's one belief you had to let go of in order to grow?
I'm not allowed to earn money.
Woo! Okay. What's a moment when your body told you the truth before your brain caught up?
Wow. Ha! Rapid. Ha! What? Sorry.
No.
My body before my brain caught up. My body's actually pretty awesome. Probably the whole perimenopause thing, that my body was going like, ah! And my brain was like, ah! Yeah. Two completely different feelings.
Clearly, what does healing feel like in your body?
Peace. Peaceful.
One phrase you say to yourself now that you never used to.
These are the good days.
Finish this sentence. When I stopped believing, I started to truly live.
When I started believing, I started truly live who I am.
When I stopped believing, fill in the blank.
When I stopped believing that I needed to be someone else, I started being myself. I started being able to feel emotions that I didn't feel before.
Okay. All right. So last two questions. Give some advice for the male role models, the father figures, the partners, the spouses, of those who are struggling with pelvic pain, heavy periods, endometriosis, adenomyosis, PCOS, fibroids. How can they better be a part of the support system and the conversation for those of us that are navigating through these obstacles and challenges?
Listen to your wife, listen to your partner, listen to your daughter, listen. Honestly, just listen to them. That already makes a huge difference if someone says, I hear you.
Okay. If you could have a meal with any historical figure, who would it be and what would y'all eat?
So we'd eat vegetarian food because I'm a vegetarian.
Okay.
So it'd be lots of veggies, a little bit of carbs, some coffee for dessert. And I'm thinking of a person I would really... I think I would love to have dinner with the wives of the famous men, like famous artists with their wives, famous scientists, their wives. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to know if it was all them. I don't believe it. I think the wives had a lot to do with why they got where. I mean, women are usually there, to have the back of the guy. I mean, I was married. I'm not anymore, and I freed my husband's back so he could grow in the company. And I truly think that all the scientists, the artists, everyone, how much did the women actually have to do with what they were doing? Like Einstein, for example, like what were the women doing? I know there were mathematicians, for example, or scientists themselves or artists themselves. I'd like to know more about.
I'm with it. I like it. All right. So let everybody know where they can find you and connect with you, Natalie.
So on Instagram and TikTok, it's RTT with Natalie. On YouTube, it's RTT with Natalie. I do have some audios as well, also perimenopause for reduction of the symptoms. So, or relaxation. I've got a few. So RTT with Natalie. And you can find me on the Lighthouse Therapists with an S at the end because they didn't have the Lighthouse Therapist. Sadly, I had to put the S in. And on LinkedIn at Natalie Lund.
Thank you. I love it. So, y'all, so much of what holds us back are beliefs we didn't choose consciously. When you uncover your beliefs, you can change them. When you change your beliefs, you change your life. Y'all, it has been another amazing episode of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. It's your Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach Jovonnie. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. If you're here vibing with us on the video version, and make sure if you listen on your favorite podcast distribution platform, you give the podcast a rating and a follow. Thanks for vibing with me, y'all.